Excuse me. Don't mean to be playing in the background. Good morning, Libran lady. I hope you're doing well. I'm doing pretty well, thank you. Making progress little by little, slow and steady. It's doing some weird things here. It has been a good morning, and it's a good afternoon. I hope your morning has been good. Trying to copy the description on Facebook or YouTube so I can paste it in the chat. It's around about 2 p.m. in the afternoon for me. What's the time for you in India? Patricia Cassidy, welcome. 5 p.m. you say, Libran lady. Very interesting. I want to say a big thank you to whoever just sent me a donation. Much appreciation and thanks. Patricia Cassidy, thank you so much. Thank you so much. I think I will give you a 6-card reading if you'd like, as a thank you. As I typically do 3 cards here in the stream, but as a thank you I'll give you a 6-card reading to answer your question. You can most definitely have a card. I'm going to give you a 6-card reading in return for your generosity. Let me know if you have a question. Yeah, if you have a specific question, otherwise let me know if you'd like a general reading. I'll give you a moment to think on what your question will be. General. Okay, cool. What general guidance does the universe have for Patricia Cassidy? And what blessings does the universe have in store for Patricia Cassidy? So that's your general card, general overview. It also doubles as your present card, your present interval. Crossing what's in the way of your present, but can also be used to your advantage once you're aware of it. Conscious mind, where's your conscious mind fixated? Unconscious mind, what's your unconscious processing? Past interval and things which are closing. Future interval and things which are opening. So, your about card, general overview, and present interval is the Prince of Swords. So, Prince energy is like choosing to face challenges that you've been avoiding, and Swords is to do with purpose. So, you have an idea of what you're doing. You've set a purpose for yourself. In the present, you're doing that, and up until this moment in time, like last time you tried to work in this purpose, last time you tried to like step on this road and work towards your purpose, you were met with certain difficulties and challenges, and you felt like you weren't ready to face those things. So you pushed that to a side and you're like, okay, I'll do something else in the meantime. But now in your present moment, you're feeling like you've learned enough and you've been through enough since your last attempt that you're ready to face those challenges and push through and overcome. And that's basically what your present interval has to say. Your crossing card is the Star, number 17 of the trumps. So what this card is saying to me is that the reason you had difficulty with your challenges and your purpose in the past was due to some struggle with emotions. You weren't so able to direct and channel your emotions. Certain triggers, like someone would say something, or something would happen, or someone would do something, and that would trigger an emotional response, and then you would do what the emotion was saying. So if you were feeling resentful and the emotion was like, say something spiteful, do something spiteful, then you would do it, and then that would separate you from purpose. And that was the kind of challenge that was that you were avoiding, trying to stay away from triggers, trying not to, you were basically avoiding your own purpose because you were afraid of how you'd respond to triggers as you stepped on that road. But now you're ready to face those things because you've learned new ways of coping with your emotions. You've learned how to channel and direct your emotions so that you can find inspiration from them. And when you feel triggered, you're able to observe it and experience it, and say to yourself, okay, I understand the emotion is saying to me do this, but I know that's going to hurt my purpose, so I'm going to choose to do this creative thing instead, because that will bring me closer to my purpose, and it allows me to express what I'm feeling right now in a healthy way. So that's actually really encouraging, really good to see that. Your conscious mind is fixated on your insecurities. It is number 16 of the trumps, called the Tower. It's not necessarily fixated or obsessed. Basically, you're consciously observing yourself so that you can identify your insecurities. And insecurities being places where you've self-justified. So if we look back at that number 17, the Star, and the emotional discord, then the Tower is it's identifying that, looking back at how you were able to justify reacting to the negative emotions and triggers rather than doing something creative and constructive with it. Just looking at that and saying, okay, where did I self-justify? Where did I give myself permission to act negatively? And also identifying in yourself what you've believed about yourself and your capabilities that wasn't necessarily true. And this is very healthy, because if you don't do this self-reflection and you don't identify your self-justifications and you don't identify your self-believed lies, then the universe will come and smack that sense into you in a very ungraceful, discompassionate way, and it'll be quite painful and jarring. So to do the self-reflection and allow your conscious mind to identify your insecurities it just basically avoids that unnecessary pain. When you encounter life events or people who make you aware of those insecurities, you've already been aware of them, you've already accepted them, and you already made the conscious effort to start working them out of your identity, choosing instead to base your identity on strong truths regarding yourself and what you can do. So basically, yeah, just it prevents that unnecessary pain when the universe decides to bring something that will make you aware of your insecurities. Your unconscious mind has a 7 of discs reversed. So number 7 is, like today is the 7th, and number 7 is about it's about being able to see all of these many possibilities or all of these responsibilities that are in front of you, and it can almost be overwhelming. When you have endless possibilities in front of you, you don't actually step out towards attaining anyone. And when you have so many responsibilities on you, you feel overwhelmed by it, and you don't actually know where you should be dedicating your time, and you end up unable to motivate yourself to do any of it. So that's what your unconscious mind is processing, and the advice that that card has for you is to identify what's most important to you out of the responsibilities you have to do, you have in front of you and have to take care of, and to identify what your outcome should look like, because you've got endless possibilities. So choose which one you actually want for your life. Like, what is it going to look like? What's your life going to look like in 5 years time, or by the end of this year? And what road are you going to take to get there? It's not important that you're able to see the entire means of moving from point A to point B. The point is just choosing one and then starting to step in that direction. Because if you haven't chosen an outcome, then you can't actually step on a road towards getting there. And this is specifically to do with your finances and your physical reality and your fitness and your health, and responsibilities regarding your finances and fitness and health. So then make priorities, work on them in that order, choose your outcome, and start taking steps towards it, and stick to it. Commit to the direction that you choose. Don't like get halfway and then say, hey, I should have gone another way, and turn around and go back. Your past interval and things which are coming to a close for you is the 5 of Swords. So 5 is about applying yourself to your maximum potential, applying all of your resources and your knowledge to their limits. Swords is to do with purpose. So again, it's about the purpose that you've set for yourself. You have a desire in your heart and you're choosing to step towards it, choosing to apply your resources. That's what's coming to a close for you. You were applying your resources to their limits. They had limitations. Your knowledge, your experiences, and your financial and technological resources had limits on what they could do, on how they could bring you towards your purpose and bring that purpose into your present. And those limitations are coming to a close now. You are interacting with people, new people, and every moment that you take one step and put it in front of the other, you are learning more and experiencing more and getting access to new resources. So that period of limitations where you could only reach so far towards your purpose is coming to a close. You're going to be able to reach further from here on out. And that is what has brought you to this place where now you're ready to face those challenges you've been pushing to one side. Face them and overcome them, because you've learned more and you've experienced more and you have access to more resources since that 5 of Swords came to a close. Your future interval is the 8 of Cups. So this is what's about to open up for you, and 8 is a number of shifts, number of adjustment, number of endurance. So Cups, when we see the 8 with the Cups, it's talking about making shifts and adjustments in your emotional being. So in the past, where we had this 5 of Swords, and in the present where we have the Prince of Swords, you feel like certain emotional cups are not being filled. You are giving out emotional abundance to people around you, and you're receiving emotional abundance from people around you, but there isn't a balance. There are moments where you're giving more than you're receiving, and there are moments where you're receiving more than you're giving. So these shifts and changes that this is talking about, this 8 of Cups that's about to open for you, is about finding a balance in that, making adjustments to yourself, your behaviors, and making adjustments to relationships, setting boundaries in order to create a better balance between that income and expense of emotional abundance. Filling your own cup first so that it can overflow onto those around you, instead of trying to pour into someone else's empty cup from your halfway full cup and thereby ending up with a quarter cup. Rather, filling your cup consistently so that it can spill over onto those around you consistently. And that concludes your reading. So thank you very much for joining. Thank you so much for the blessing you sent, the donation. Such a blessing. I hope that you received some value from this spread and its interpretation. Wishing you much abundance, wealth, and prosperity. Everything that you give out, everything you sow into the universe returns to you 777-fold. So mote it be. Having a look at my chat to see who has joined. So welcome Chris Finclair. Good afternoon from the UK. Hope you're doing well today, sir. Yes, thank you so much. Doing pretty well today. Today has been a good day, and yesterday was equally as good. So much abundance flowing and progress being made. I can see why Azura loves you. You're a kind, friendly, helpful, and lovable person. Thank you so much for your recognition. Welcome to the chat, Noob Kitty. Is there a queue? There is a queue. Basically, you ask a question to join the queue, and free readings close when the timer runs out. But a $2 donation will secure you to make sure you get a reading even if the queue is closed. $5 donation will bump you to the top of the queue, but the queue is empty at this point, so just ask a question to join. And basically, yeah, when the timer expires, then all readings from there on out are donation based. Until then, it's free readings. I will claim a lovely day. Thank you so much, Patricia. Go out and claim a lovely day for yourself as well. I hope you're doing well today, Chris. I saw you posted that you got some new music, so I'm sure that means a good day for you. Welcome to the chat, Melissa Harrington. I am doing free readings, so this timer over here will tell you how long I am doing free readings for. It's a countdown for 2 hours, and when it expires, the free readings end. But until then, free readings are open. Just ask a question to join the queue. So Noob Kitty saying higher calling for life, but then saying just give me a moment to type out the question. Welcome Tweet T. It's good to see you again. Thanks for joining us in the stream. Family troubles question. Party feels guilty, partly feel guilty, but need to isolate to find balance. General reading. Awesome. So I'm gonna go ahead and give Tweet T his reading, and Noob Kitty, as soon as you give me your question, you'll be in the queue for the next one. These are 3-card readings that I'm offering. I am choosing people at random to give bigger, more extensive readings to, but yeah, generally I'm just giving out 3-card readings. Okay. How can Tweet better resolve this family trouble? You have a wild card that jumped out, and it's the devil. So what this card has to say is that no one is right. None of you are right. You are all trying to be right, trying to be better than everybody else, trying to prove that you're better, trying to put everyone else down and make yourself out to be bigger. And that is extremely unhealthy. and it's only going to lead to more conflict. Each of you needs to recognize that everyone else is free to be and believe and do what they think is right. And so therefore just focusing on what you need to do and what your priorities are and move in that direction, and not concern yourself with what direction everyone else is going in. If people are challenging you and trying to make themselves out to be right, you just stand on your ground, you tell them what is your boundaries, you just express yourself and your standing point, and then you continue to move in your own direction. And that's what this wild card has to say. What general advice does the universe have regarding this family discord? Past interval, present interval, and future interval. Okay, so your past interval is number 9 of the trumps, the Hermit Reversed. So what this card has to say to you is that your methods of going into self-reflective periods in the past are self-isolation. While they are good and they are necessary, you spend way too much time in that space. The longer you sit in that state of isolation, as long as you sit in stasis and not doing anything, your reality collapses around you. The plans you've made, the priorities you have, the goals you've set, all of that stuff starts to collapse the longer that you sit in stasis. So the only time that you should go into stasis and do this self-reflection is when everything else has been taken care of. So you start out your mission, you start out, it's 1, you communicate. 2, there's potential, you reach for it, you commit. 3, you become self-aware of what you have to do, etc., etc., etc. You get to 8, you realize who you need to become in order to see this realized. Number 9, you self-reflect on how you have self-sabotaged in the past and how you've done well, so that you don't have to repeat those things in the future. And when that self-reflection is done, that's when apologies are made, that's when new seeds are sown into the present and new goals are set, and you arrive in completion. So staying there in that self-reflection, isolating almost as a way to punish people, not going to work for you moving forward. That's a negative pattern from the past that should not be repeated going forward. Present interval is the Knight of Swords reversed. So basically this card is saying that the conflict that's happening in the family is because everybody is experiencing a rebirth of purpose. Everybody has realized that what they have been dedicating themselves to until this point has not been actually what they want, and it's been leaving them feeling drained, leaving them feeling dissatisfied and frustrated with life in general. So everybody is re-examining why they've been doing what they're doing, why they go to work every day, why they get out of bed in the morning, trying to understand why are we living in this purpose that we have right now, because it's making us feel shit, and trying to identify what do their hearts really want from life, and how can they start taking action to make that real? How can they reset purpose? How can they give rebirth to their purpose? And so as they step into that, they're feeling like they have no control over their lives or over their environment or where they're going with their lives, and so they project that onto everybody else. They want the environment to look and act a certain way in order to give them a false sense of security. But this is temporary. This is because of being made aware of the fact that they don't want to be in this purpose that they've been in all this time. They want to rebirth their purpose. They want to really follow what their heart wants and not do what they've been doing up until this point. So that's what's created all of this sudden conflict in the family in your present moment. Allow that rebirth to take place. Identify what your heart is and let go of the old so that the new can manifest. And just do it, regardless of what kind of adversity shows up or what kind of conflict there is. Just focus on moving in your direction and let everyone move in their own direction. You don't need them to act in a certain way. That's an illusion of control. The only authority you have is over yourself and how you respond to your own emotions. Future interval is number 7 of the trumps. It's called the Chariot. It's reversed. So basically today is the 7th. So today is all about it's about having endless responsibilities, limited time, unlimited responsibilities with limited time to fulfill them, feeling overwhelmed, having endless possibilities of what the future looks like and endless ways to get there, and so therefore not actually stepping out and doing any of it, feeling so overwhelmed by the magnitude of responsibility that none of them is getting fulfilled. And that's what's about to open up for you. So the advice that card has to say to you is identify what is most important to you personally. Out of all the responsibilities you have, what is most important to you and where you're going, and prioritize your tasks and your responsibilities in that kind of order, checking them off in the order that is important to you. And when it comes to where you're going and what the future looks like, visualize it the way you want it to be. Visualize it in as much detail as you can and say, that's the outcome that I want. That's what I want my life to look like at the end of this month. That's what I want my life to look like at the end of this year. That's what I want my life to look like in the next 5 years. And then look at various ways that you can start acting to make that happen. Choose a direction, because if you've got all of these possible ways to make it happen, none of them is going to happen. You have to choose one and commit to it. You don't have to see everything that's in front of you from point A to point B. As long as you are putting one foot in front of the other and traveling on that road, you will get to your destination. And that concludes your reading. So thank you very much for joining me today. If you're by the means, please feel free to send a donation. It's entirely optional. Yeah. I hope that I'll be seeing you again. Thank you so much. Why did he take the tobacco away?
He didn't. He left it here on the table.
But he was walking with it in his hand.
Oh, I don't know. He left Bob's here.
Oh, I see. He bought the other one as well. Okay, well, I'll buy them both from him.
Oh, did he have the yellow one?
Yeah, in his hand.
Eesh, and he left that Bob's one here. Makes
Yeah.
no sense.
I guess he bought the Golden Virginia and then checked his messages and saw that I asked for Bob's and then went back to get it, but couldn't return the one that he'd already paid for. So I'll just buy it from him as well.
Okay.
It isn't his responsibility.
Cool. And would you like a snack or anything while you're good?
I would love a snack.
Okay. Do you want chips or would you like a sandwich?
Chips and a sandwich?
Okay. Have it.
Thank you. Welcome to the chat, Chandra. A new proposal came from this man named Sorov. Checking to see Noob Kitty. So basically, Noob Kitty, do you just want a general reading? Because I see you asked higher calling for life and then you said just give me a moment to type the question, but never actually ended up typing the question. So I'm going to go and do a general reading for your higher calling. And then Chandra, you'll be up next after that. And I guess you wanted to know, is he the correct one? Should you take that proposal? Awesome. Ashley says, good morning, Josh. Good morning, Ashley. It's a good afternoon for me, and I hope it's a good morning for you. And whether or not it appears to be a good morning, claim it as a good morning. Choose it to be a good morning, and observe the day playing out the way you want it to. As you observe reality, it becomes more likely to manifest into your present the way you've observed it. So if you're observing negative shit is most likely going to occur. If you're observing positive shit is most likely going to occur. Just a little note, just a little tidbit of manifestation information. Gaurav Sharma, welcome to the chat. You're not on the list unless you ask a question. Feifei, same thing, you can be added by asking your question. Peggy, welcome to the chat. Can I have a reading for 2022? So I'm assuming that's a general reading that you're asking for. Awesome. Libran Lady says, how did PS feel yesterday after I ended things with him? Cool. We'll add you to the queue. So we've got Noob Kitty. Noob Kitty wants a career reading. What I should actively work on to overcome the challenges I'm facing in the moment. Cool. So Noob Kitty. After Noob Kitty is Chandra. You don't have to type your question again unless you'd like to rearrange the words. After Chandra, I think, let me just check. After Chandra is Peggy, and then Libran Lady, and then Mina Lavine, who wants to ask if my project is working and will this be a success. welcome to the chat, Cat, on Facebook, Cat Flatley. If you'd like a question, please ask a Q. It's if it isn't a good morning, claim it as a good morning, and it's a good afternoon for me. I'm claiming that. So Kat would like a reading on love life. Cool. So just to let you know, guys, this timer over here is the free readings timer. When that countdown reaches 0, the free readings close, and from there on out it'll only be donation based readings. But until then, we've got free readings going. If you'd like to jump to the top of the queue, it's a $5 donation. Alright, Noob Kitty, let's get on with your reading. Chandra, thank you for sharing that. I don't know the movie Sanctum. I did know that Joshua and Jesus are the same name in different languages, both translating to Yeshua in Hebrew. But thank you for sharing. Okay. What should Noob Kitty actively dedicate his or her time to in order to overcome the career and financial challenges that are being faced? Past interval, present interval, future interval. Gaurav Sharma, if you asked a question, you are on the list. If you did not ask a question, you are not on the list. Okay, so Noob Kitty, your past interval is number 4 of the trumps. It is the Emperor, and it's reversed. So this card is saying that in the past, your biggest trouble with manifesting your dreams and manifesting your whatever it is you're working on, overcoming your challenges, the biggest issue you've had, what consistently sabotages you, is the lack of routine or structure in your process. Failing to identify what is a priority and then acting according to those priorities. And when you do, if you do, failing to schedule it and failing to stick to that schedule, that is when your biggest trouble in the past, and that is what has sabotaged you in your finances consistently again and again throughout your cycles until the present moment. This is something that has ingrained itself in you. This lack of discipline has ingrained itself in you because of either an unhealthy father figure, unhealthy masculine influences in your life, or the absence thereof. And it's just something to be aware of. Identify what you believe is healthy masculinity, and discipline and focus is very much a part of the healthy masculine archetype. Start developing that character within yourself. Start taking schedule very seriously, flexibility and priorities, start taking it very seriously. In the present, I have a 4 of discs, which is saying the exact same thing, but specifically regarding your health and your finances. It is the 4 of discs reversed. So in the present, you're trying to make this change, trying to make this shift, trying to identify what is a priority. That's why you're here asking me, what should you be actively working on? So what is important to you? Having security, having physical security, having enough food, making sure you got power and water. These things should be priority. So what do you do that secures those things for you? Because that is your number 1 priority. If you have children, they are number 1 priority. Securing those things for them is number 1 priority. So what can you do to help overcome the challenge of consistency within routine? Write it down. That is the best advice that I can give to you. Once you know what you need to be doing throughout the day, write it down. Write it down at certain times. You will do X, Y, and Z. But remember to be flexible, because there will always be events that happen in your environment that you can't control, and if you can't be flexible with your priorities, those things will sabotage your routine. So when something uncontrollable enters your sphere and it coincides with certain priorities, and you're like, hey, I won't be able to fill those things, move them around. Take things off of your schedule that are not so high on the priority list, and move your top priorities into spots where you can work on them, so that you can be flexible with uncontrollable variables. And as long as you're fulfilling one priority per day, you're still moving forward, you're still making progress towards your dreams, still making sure you are secure. Future interval is Prince of Cups. So what's opening up for you is you facing your emotional difficulties. This card is saying that the reason why you struggle so much with your consistency in your routine and your priorities is because of emotional interference. You get down, you like fluctuate in your emotions from excitement to depression, motivation, and then lack of motivation. So this card is saying that challenge, you need to face that challenge and choose to fulfill your responsibilities regardless of what your emotions are saying or what they're doing. That has been a challenge in the past that you've avoided. When you feel emotional currents, you just do what those emotions are saying. Feeling depressed, I'm going to wander around and eat loads of snacks and not do anything, smoke loads of cigarettes, and just lay around and watch series. You're like, okay, that's what my depression is saying I should do, that's what I will do. Never mind what I set on my schedule for today. So that card is saying is what's opening up for you is changing that and choosing to face those emotions head on and stay consistent with your routine no matter what the emotions are doing. And that's the advice that the tarot has for you, and that is your reading concluded. Thank you for joining us today, and I hope that this gives you some inspiration. Remember that motivation is in the mind, and thoughts are fleeting, so motivation will come and go. What is your heart inspired by? Follow that regardless of how motivated you are. Follow your inspiration. Selah. Okay. So after New Kitty, we have Chandra. Okay. You are most welcome, Noob Kitty. Thank you for joining me. Yeah, please follow if you haven't already. You can check me out on my other platforms too, and if you're by the means, you're welcome to send a donation of your choosing. Just want to say a warm welcome to Beautiful, who has joined us on YouTube. Thank you for your question. Your question automatically adds you to the queue. Thank you so much for following, Kitty. Thank you so much. And then Gaurav, if you have asked your question, then you are in the queue. And just letting everybody know, this timer is the free readings timer, and when it counts down to 0, free readings close, and from there on out we're donation based. Until then, free readings are going. We're doing 3 card spreads, and I will pick out certain people to give 5 and 6 card readings to at random. If you want to jump to the top of the queue, you can send a $5 donation to make that happen. Awesome, thank you, Gaurav. I will get to it at some point. I'm gonna do Chandra's reading up next. So Chandra, in my chat here, I see it says a new proposal came from this man named Saurav Matra. Maitra is the correct one. Insights, please. I'm gonna go and read for that, unless you would like to change that question. I know you did post later on about your question, but there were so many different ones. I don't know which one to go with now. Okay, I'm seeing, yeah. A new proposal came from the family of a man named Saurav Maitra, who is younger by 5 years to me. Do you see he is the right one? How will things turn out if I dated him? I also like a man named Avirap Bose, but he never turns up. It's all in mind. Not sure which way to head. Okay, cool. You know, the 7th is all about decision making, and we're in the 7th, so yeah, we'll get you some clarification. What is the best course of action for Chandra regarding her present question, her present circumstances, and the proposals and decisions which are before her? I like that suggestion from Libran Lady. Choose the one who chooses you as well. I like that suggestion. Past interval is number 19 of the trumps reversed. So this is saying in the past there was someone that you were giving all of your energy to. When we see the sun card the right way around, it's saying that you are the source of energy in your reality, and you give the environment its potential to bring forth abundance and new life. When the card is reversed, it's saying that you're deliberately pushing that energy out. You're deliberately trying to make a good example of yourself, dress yourself up for someone, constantly giving of your emotional abundance as a way to get the environment to start giving forth life. But that deliberate effort, that deliberately coming up with new ways to impress somebody, is detrimental to you, and it drains your cup and it leaves you feeling empty and alone. And that was not in your interests. That's what your past interval has to say. It's saying that the one from the past that you did this for, that you were constantly trying to impress, constantly trying to get the attention of, and never ending up receiving what you were giving, what you were trying to get, that's coming to a close. You should let go of that and leave it in the past. Future interval is the Knight of Swords reversed. So this card is saying that this new proposal that you've received, it has made you re-examine what you actually want from life. Swords is to do with purpose, and you are stepping in purpose when you've identified what you want from life, and then you start taking action to making that happen. So during this time where we see the Sun card in the past position, you were doing that. You had an idea of what you wanted and you were taking action to make it happen, but it wasn't happening. Instead, you were being left drained and empty. So in the present, this proposal has caused that to be reborn. That sense of what you want, that sense of how you're going to get there is being reborn. You're letting go of the past, allowing the new to be born. Letting go of the old purpose and the old way that you were trying to manifest that purpose, and grabbing hold of new ways to manifest purpose, identifying new desires and setting purpose towards that, setting objectives and goals to make that happen. Future interval is number 18 of the trumps. It is the Moon. So if I had to bring this card down to one single word, that word would be realization. And that's realization in every possible way that it could mean. That's realization as in, okay, I'm faced with an obstacle, and now I realize that I actually have all the tools I need to overcome this, and they've been with me this whole time. I just couldn't see them or see how I could apply them to overcome this obstacle. And then the other side of that coin, realization as in, okay, I've identified what I want, and now I'm going to realize it, manifest it into my present. And that is the realization energy that's talked about in the moon. Basically, you're faced with an obstacle that is also a gateway. It's also an opening. And to open that gate, it's like a locked door, basically. You're faced with a locked door, and you actually have the key to unlock that door. You just didn't know that that key fit in that lock. And as soon as you actually try and fit it into that lock, it'll unlock that door. That's basically what is opening up for you, an opportunity, a locked door that you have actually had the key to all this time. And that is satiety. It's a door to satiety. It's a door to fulfillment. It's a door to security. And that is this proposal that's being given to you. So you have the key to unlock it if you would just let go of the past and let go of this one that you've wanted and given all of your time to. It's very difficult because you've invested so much energy and time into this past love interest. So you don't want to give up on all of that. You don't want to give up on the false promises you made. You don't want to give up on all the energy you've invested into that relationship. And I understand that. But there's a door to security and abundance and appreciation and mutual respect that's right in front of you, and it's locked. But you've had the key all this time, and that key is to let go of the old and to let go of your attachment to outcome. Let go of your fear of making the wrong decision. Selah. That concludes your reading. Thank you very much for joining. If you felt like you got value out of the spread, I encourage you to send a donation of your choosing as a way to show that your appreciation. But you can also like and follow me on many platforms. There are many ways you can show appreciation. Thank you so much. Thank you, baby.
My pleasure.
Is this the food from last night?
No, that is still Rex's.
Yikes.
But now it's finished, and I tasted it, and it's okay.
And it's okay. Cool. Amazing. Thank you.
Pleasure.
Okay, next in line is Peggy on Facebook, asking for a future reading regarding 2022, general 2022 reading. So, Peggy, if you are still here in the chat, please let me know, because your reading is up next in my queue. Thank you for confirming. So, Beautiful is asking, how do we know when it's our turn? Yeah, you have to kind of wait. Occasionally I will check through the queue and let everybody know how far away they are, how far away their turn is, and whether or not they will get it before the countdown expires. But yeah, right now I just want to focus on getting on with readings. What lies ahead for Peggy in 2022? So 3 of discs is your past interval. So this card, it talks about becoming aware of yourself. It's just about self-awareness, realizing. It's revelation. It's becoming aware of what's necessary. It's becoming aware of who you have to be. It's becoming aware of what you're gonna have to learn, what's actually required for you to make progress in whatever it is you're working on. And this is disc, so what you were working on at that point was your finances and your health. So this is a past interval, so it's what has been happening for you in the last couple months of 2021. You were working on. There was potential for financial security and health and growth and progress in regards to health, and so you made commitments and you reached out to claim those opportunities, and then you became aware. As soon as you claimed those opportunities, you became aware of what was actually gonna be required of you in order to see that physical abundance manifest. You became aware of what you'd have to learn in order to stay committed. You became aware of who you'd have to become and what kind of changes you'd have to make in yourself in order to get to that outcome. So it was an inspiration for you. You realized that all of these things were within your grasp, so it was encouraging and inspiring for you. So moving into the present. In the present, we have number 19 of the trumps. It's called the Sun. So this card is saying that in the present, you are just operating according to your authentic being. You are staying committed to the seeds that you planted last year, the potential and the opportunities you reached out to claim. You're staying committed to those to make sure that the efforts you've invested into that don't wither out and die. And you're just operating. You're going about your daily business, fulfilling your routine, making sure you're doing something productive, just being yourself authentically and enjoying life. And as you do that, you're radiating energy to the people around you, you're inspiring them, you're giving the environment its potential to bring forth abundance and new life. So basically just by your productivity daily, you're giving your home and your household the potential to bring in more wealth in all of its forms: emotional wealth, physical wealth, spiritual wealth. It's all just manifesting because you're like the sun, and the planets all orbit the sun, and they receive their potential to bring forth life and abundance from the energy that's the sun. And so you're like the sun in your own universe, in your own household. You're like a source of radiating energy that everything else relies on and gets its potential from. And that's really beautiful. Stay in that, and the abundance that manifests throughout 2022 will just continue to increase. Future interval is number 5 of the trumps. So this card is saying that throughout 2022, you are steadily, little bit by little bit, you are going to become an example to the people in your life. You're going to become an example of health and strength and application and dedication. Number 5 is about applying yourself to your maximum potential, really pushing yourself to your maximum potential and accomplishing everything that you're capable of. And in doing so, becoming an example that others can follow, becoming a teacher in essence. Even if you're not hosting classes or courses, people are observing you and learning from your example. It could also imply that 2022 there's opportunity for you to be a teacher and compile courses and sell them. That's also something that it's suggesting as a possibility. You have experience based on where you've come from, and you've seen so much growth since 2021 in yourself, and so much change, so much positive change, and you could literally start writing up a course on how you moved from point A to B and how you arrived in this place that you're at, and share that with people, because you are becoming an example, you're becoming an influence, and people are being inspired and they're following your example, and people in your life are receiving inspiration, and their potential to bring forth wealth and abundance is coming because of how inspiring you are. It's growing these trees of abundance and wealth in them. And that concludes your reading. So thank you very much. This is a very encouraging and inspiring thread. I can literally feel how you are radiating energy through this spread. I'm feeling it's just how like on top of your game you've been, and how authentic you are. And just by that authenticity, you give your environment its potential. So, yeah, kudos to you. Much wealth and abundance to you in this 2022, and wish you success in all of your endeavors. Jano, if you have made a question, if you've posted a question, then yes. Yes, you are in the queue. My nose is itching up a storm. Next up is Libran Lady. How does PS feel yesterday after I ended things with him? After Libran, we have Amina Lavine, and then we have Cat Flatley, and then we have Fi, also known as Aza, and then Koram, and then Shruti. Okay, so Gaurav, there is no question from you in my chat. At this point here, where I finished reading for Chandra, you said you had posted a question, but there is no question in the chat. So I will give you a reading after Cat Flatley. Sorry, not Cat Flatley, after Koram, who is after Cat Flatley. But I need you to confirm your question. And then after Shruti would be Beautiful. Not sure how many readings that is. After Beautiful comes a J No. Peggy says thank you very much, may God bless. May God bless you as well. Beautiful, I did mention you when I was reading out the queue. You're towards the end of the queue. You're like, I didn't count them, I just named the names in order. But anyway, Libran Lady is up next. Gaurav, I'm telling you that there is no question, so please type it again. I will still give you a reading at that point in the queue, but I need you to give me your question. How has the breakup between Libran Lady and PS affected the one referred to as PS? What is Cushy Girl thinking about me today? I'm a boy. Yes, your question is visible to me now. Thank you, Gaurav. So, your past interval, Libran Lady, is the 9 of Discs. So this is talking to me about what inspired the breakup. Inability to take responsibility. A period of self-reflection. Number 9 is about reflecting on mistakes made and progress made. So going into a place of self-reflection and saying, okay, where have I acted badly, where have I self-sabotaged, and where have I done well? and then taking responsibility for your mistakes so that you don't repeat them, very important. And acknowledging where you did well, also very important, so that you can apply those same methods in the future. And this is specifically to do with physical reality, so it's to do with like prudence, being prudent with resources. It's to do with committing to your job or your work, whatever your income is. It's also to do with sexual relationships, physical intercourse. So this card is just saying to me that you would both go into these periods of self-reflection, but one or both parties was not acknowledging where they were wrong, so therefore not learning from their mistakes, and so therefore repeating those mistakes, and that is unhealthy. So it's not a bad thing that this relationship has come to a close. In the present, we have number 14 of the trumps. It's called art. And it's about co-creation. Art is all about co-creation, working with others to make things happen. So this is saying to me that he felt like you guys were doing great. He felt like you were working together really well. Apparently not so. Apparently you didn't see that. You saw he was being wasteful and being slacking off and not taking responsibility. So he thought you guys were doing really well. He thought you were working together, allowing your creative processes to support one another. But what was really happening is that your creative process was inspiring and supporting him, and not much support was coming back. And now he feels desolate, like you have broken that off. And he doesn't understand why you would throw away something that was working so well. Yeah. Future interval is number 8 of discs. It's also reversed. So this card is saying that what is opening for him is some adjustments and shifts. The universe is about to force him to acknowledge himself and start making changes to his lifestyle and his habits, because he will need to find some way to become prudent and balance his income and his expense. The way he was doing things before, being irresponsible with his resources, the universe is not going to give him space to do that anymore. Now that the relationship is closed, he has no space to be irresponsible, and he's going to have to make some shifts and changes to his lifestyle and habits in order to balance himself. And this is going to be difficult and painful for him, and he's going to self-pity, and he's going to blame you, and he's going to blame everybody around him, but he's going to have no choice except to make that shift. And once he's made that shift, hopefully he'll be able to see himself clearly and realize that he brought it all on himself, and that the changes were actually healthy and necessary. And without them, he would have been screwed, basically, for the rest of his life. Yeah, he's angry. He doesn't understand why you would throw away something that was working so well for him. And he blames you now for all the difficulties he's feeling. He blames you for the struggle he's facing with his finances. He blames you for his lack of sexual gratification. He's just blaming everybody around him instead of taking responsibility. And you had no clarity. He was into his feminine saying, going with the flow. Did you get no clarity from him, or are you having no clarity from the spread? Because I can give you a little more clarity before you go. Anyway, thank you for joining. I hope that you have received some clarity now. and you understand what he's going through. So, next in my queue is Cat Flatley on Facebook. So Cat Flatley, if you're here, you're up next for a reading. Please confirm. I see your question is general reading regarding your love life. Amazing. Thank you for confirming, Kat. Cool. What general advice does the universe have for Kat Flatley regarding her current relationship with Stephen? The one referred to as Stephen. So 3 of discs is your past interval, and when we saw this earlier, I said it was to do with becoming aware of what's necessary, what's required of you, what you're going to have to learn, who you're going to have to become. It's just about becoming self-aware, and that's specifically regarding health, fitness, and finances. So this is saying to me that the last few weeks of, or the last month of 2021 made you guys collectively aware of what was necessary in order to secure this relationship and yourselves within this relationship. You realized the changes you were going to have to make to yourself. You realized what level of responsibility and commitment was going to be required of you guys. And it's not saying specifically what made you guys aware of that, but there was a third party. You observed somebody or another relationship. You observed someone and they made you aware. You were like, hey, that's what we need to become in order to make this work. That's what we have to do in order to secure ourselves. And this is what we're going to have to learn if we want to ever get there. And that is the last couple of weeks, last month of 2021 where this occurred. In the present we have an 8 of Swords. It's reversed. So 8 is about adjustment. It's about making changes, shifts, going through shifts, and Swords is about purpose. So when you identify what your heart wants and then you start stepping on that road towards that desire, you're existing in purpose. Applying your will in order to accomplish your desires, that is purpose. So when you start doing that, the first thing you do is communicate what you desire, and then the potential comes and you seize it, and then you get self-aware like we saw here. You realize who you have to become, what's necessary. 4, you start setting out routine, structure. 5, you apply yourself to your limits. 6, you evolve by interacting with other people who have been doing that. 7, you make decisions about what your outcome is going to be. And then 8, you start actually making the changes in who you are in order to reach that completion and that outcome. So you are now in the present, you are having to let go of certain patterns, old cycles. You're having to let go of certain habits, making changes to lifestyle, basically making the changes and the shifts that are necessary for you to be who you have to be in order to see your dreams and your purpose realized. That's for yourself and your relationship collectively. Your relationship is changing. You're changing. He's changing. You guys are actually going into the change. You're doing the shift. You're undergoing the evolution to become who you need to be before you can have your purpose and have the outcome that you're manifesting. The card is reversed, saying that this is putting strain on the relationship. As you guys are changing and shifting, it's creating strife, and one blaming the other for changes and one not letting go of things from the past due to attachments to certain habits or certain lifestyle, certain way of doing things, feeling threatened by the change. But the change is happening and there isn't really any way to stop it. Once you have acknowledged what you need to change and made the conscious decision to go through the shift, it starts to happen of its own accord, and it's slow and steady change that you can't really notice in the present. You just look back every month and you're like, oh my god, look how much has changed, and that can either be inspiring or frightening depending on how much attachment you have to the old way that things were. Future interval is the Queen of Discs. So the Queen energy is like, I want that, I'm gonna get it. It's like, yeah, I want a car and I'm not gonna let anything stand in my way. I'm gonna get a car. I'm gonna work hard and I'm gonna buy a car. This is physical reality. It's discs, so it's very much talking about physical things like home, like money, like a car. And it's future interval, so it's what's about to open up for you. The Queen comes right after completion. It's number 11, corresponds with number 11. So after you go through the shifts and become the person that you need to be in order to seek completion, then you self-reflect and you look back and you're like, okay, where have I self-sabotaged? Where have I made mistakes? Where have I done well? And you do all of those things so that you can learn from your mistakes and you can apply your successes and the methods of success to your new cycle. And then you sow those seeds when you arrive in completion. As soon as your self-reflection is done, you arrive in completion and manifestation, and you sow new seeds for the new cycle. And then bingo, 11 comes, and it's like a doorway that opens and you realize, hey, this is what I want, and I am alone responsible for making sure that what I want becomes mine. And that's moving into the new cycle, using everything that you have gained from the last cycle to make the process of reaching for your goals in the new cycle that much easier to reach. And that concludes your reading. So thank you very much for joining. Please feel free, please follow me on Facebook and like and share this video. And if you're by the means and you'd like to send a donation, you're more than welcome to do so. Thank you. Stephen is my ex of 8 years, but we've been working on ourselves, and he tells me he wants us back together. I'm finally ready to be together as us and work towards our future. We've both made changes to ourselves to make us work, but with all the history between us, there are things that have been held onto and not let go of yet. I'm not backing down. He does hurt me mentally and emotionally, but he's also afraid. I believe he said he's scared to lose me, but he won't this time, and I know he is who I want for my life, him and our family, 3 children. So it still resonates. I liked and shared for you already. Thank you. Amazing. Thank you for sharing and providing that background. So next in my queue is Fi, also known as Aza, who is asking, does Faisal want committed relationship with me? Fei, aka Aza, please let me know if you're still in the chat. Your reading is up next. And after Fi, I will be doing a reading for Gaurav. I'm gonna put Gaurav there in that spot. 5-5, please let me know if you're still here. Awesome. So I see we've only got like 44 minutes left on the clock. Letting you guys know it takes me about 10 minutes to do a reading, so 44 minutes means there are only approximately four free readings left. If you want to secure your spot and make sure that you don't miss out on your reading, then a $2 donation will secure you even once the timer expires. And if you want to jump to the top of the queue and be next, that's a $5 donation. Alright, so it doesn't look like Fi-Fi is still here. Moving on to Gorov. Just looking for your question. What is Cushy thinking of me today? Oh, some wild cards there. It's an Ace of Wands reversed. So this is miscommunicating desires and intentions. This card is saying to me that both of you are being dishonest about what your intentions are for this relationship and what you're actually hoping to attain from this relationship. Maybe you're giving little bits, you're letting on little bits, but you're not being completely honest about your intentions, neither of you. What is Cushy thinking of Gorov today? So, past interval. Number 7 of the trumps, the Chariot. So, this last week and last month and last year, because last year was last week, Cushy was looking at you and she was like, hey, this guy is a little bit overwhelmed. He's got a lot of responsibilities and he's a little bit overwhelmed by it. He doesn't know how to cope with all of the stuff that's on his shoulders, all the stuff he's carrying. More than that, she also looked at you and she was like, hey, this guy doesn't really know where he's going. He's got all of these amazing ideas for the future, but he's not actually doing any of them in the present, so none of them is becoming real. And that wasn't very good for your image. That wasn't all that good for the way that she perceived you. It kind of made her a little bit weary of getting too serious with you. In the present, we have number 9 of the trump. So right now, she is observing that you lack self-responsibility. I'm very sorry about this. Maybe her thoughts are irrational, but I doubt it. She is thinking, hey, this guy, he goes and he self-reflects. If there's an argument or if something happens, something goes wrong, he goes and he sits with it and he thinks about it. That's good. He self-reflects, but he refuses to take responsibility for his part in it. He'll always come back with some justification for why it was okay for him to say something nasty or do something spiteful or do something that was self-sabotaging. And that is extremely detrimental to your image. That really makes her weary of you. That makes her want to push you away and get the fuck away from you, to be honest. Future interval is the Queen of Swords. So what's opening up for you is the opportunity to change her perception of you. This is the Queen of Swords. Queen energy is about choosing what you want, saying, hey, I want that, so I'm going to make that happen. I'm going to make the changes that are necessary. I'm going to do the work that's necessary in order to get it because I want it. And that's to do with purpose. Swords are purpose. So when you have a desire in your heart and you start taking action towards it, you are existing in purpose. So this card is like double desire. Queen energy is about desire. Purpose, again, it's about following your heart's desire. So if you want the relationship with her, you're going to have to make the changes that are necessary here. You're going to have to choose where you're going with your life and actually start doing it. Choose a destination and actually start taking steps there and doing the work. In addition, you're also going to have to create a schedule of priorities so that you can keep up with your responsibilities, so that you're not overwhelmed by them. Identifying what's most important to you and then fulfilling those things on your checklist in that order of priority and staying committed to it no matter how you feel. More than that, you're going to have to start taking responsibility for yourself. When you self-reflect, you can see where you've made mistakes, you can see where you have done well, and you need to acknowledge, accept, and make a conscious decision to change when you have made mistakes so that you don't repeat those mistakes. And when you've done well, you need to acknowledge and accept them as well, in addition, so that you can apply those methods in the future as you go forward. But these changes have to be made. If you want what you want, and you want a relationship with her, and you want a future like that, you're going to have to seriously knuckle down and make some changes, bud. And that is the conclusion of your reading. So thank you very much for joining. Please like and share and subscribe if you haven't already. You can also check me out on my other platforms, and if you're by the means and you'd like to send a donation, please don't hesitate. See you soon. Welcome to the stream, Dre. It's good to see you. Welcome back. So after Gaurav, we have a Mina Levine. Mina Levine, if you are in the chat, please let me know you are up next for a reading. Mina Levine on Facebook. So Dre, there are quite a few people on the list, and this timer is getting low. It's like at 30 minutes now, I think. So that's like 3 readings, and there are more than 3 readings in the chat. So if you want to secure a reading for today, and still get a reading even after that timer expires, a $2 donation. If you would like to jump to the top of the queue, $5 donation. Waiting for Mina Levine to confirm that she is still here. Kuram Shazad on Facebook. Kuram Shazad asking, when will I get married? You are next in line for a reading. If you are here, let me know. Everybody's run away. Ran out of time, I guess. Shruti Ostwal on YouTube. You are up next for a reading. Your question was, I have land, when will it be sold? Amazing. Thank you for supporting the stream, Kat, and continuing to view even though your reading's concluded. Fi-Fi is back. Okay, cool. So Fi-Fi, I will give you a reading because your question is up here. Fi-Fi is next. Shruti was supposed to be next, and Fi-Fi was skipped, but Fi-Fi is back, so we'll give Fi-Fi the reading. Basically, let me see who's next, what's still in the queue. So after Fi-Fi will be beautiful. Does Faisal want a committed relationship with me? Awesome. Does Faisal want a committed, long-standing and healthy, fulfilling relationship with Aza? Cat Flatley says might only be me. No, we've actually got 8 viewers. The stream has 8 viewers across all of its platforms at the moment. You might be the only one on Facebook. Okay, never mind. There's someone else on Facebook as well. Oh, hi, Markwell Morris. Hi, and welcome to the stream. Welcome to House Kerr. So, Aza, Fi-Fi, your past interval cup, your past interval card is the Prince of Cups. So Prince energy is choosing to face challenges that you've been avoiding in the past, and Cups is to do with emotions. So what that card is saying to me is that this relationship that you have with Faisal, at this point in time, it's probably just platonic, it's just friendly. There might be some mutual attraction, some interest, but he has been in relationships before that. So when he met you and you guys started to interact, that was him choosing to face the emotional difficulties he was having, the heartbreak and the traumas from his past relationships. It was him, when he came out of his past relationship, he kind of isolated himself, and he was like, I'm not going to talk to women, I'm not going to date, I'm not even going to go out and socialize, I need to just focus on myself. And he was like, I'm not ready for that challenge of social interaction and the dating game, I'm just going to push that to one side, and maybe later I'll re-examine it. And then when he met you, that was him, he had reached a point where he was like, okay, I've been through enough and I've experienced enough that it's time for me to get back in the game. It's time for me to start interacting with people and actually find someone that I like. So when you guys started to interact, that was him. It was him saying, okay, I'm looking for someone to get into a serious relationship with. It was him facing that challenge. In the present, I have a 6 of Swords. 6 is about overcoming previous limitations through new relationships. In the present, both of you are overcoming your previous limits. You're breaking through the boundaries that you had, the barriers, not boundaries, breaking through the barriers that you had before. You have purpose, you set purpose for yourself, you have a mission of where you're going with your life, and he has a mission of where he's going with his life. And now, as a result of the two of you interacting and forming this friendship or relationship, you are giving him information, you guys just talking and interacting, it's giving you pieces of new information and access to new resources that help you get further than you were before with your own mission and your own goals. And the same applying to him. This interaction between you two is allowing you both to transcend beyond your previous limitations and previous blockages. 2 of Discs is your future interval. So this card is saying that to allow this relationship to move forward and become more serious. It also simultaneously opens up the opportunity for abundance in your physical reality. So that means basically security, home space security, feelings of safety, having your needs met, health, potential for health, and potential for, excuse me, let me just block these scammers. Okay, potential for health, for development in the healthiness of your lifestyle. So being together, being able to create your own life together, you'll be able, your own relationship, and the potential for your own life means things like your own diet, your own routine, all of that kind of thing. Just whatever you want to create for your health, rather than what other people impose on you wherever you're currently staying, wherever you currently are. Gratification, satiety when it comes to physical needs and desires. Just a lot of potential for abundance in the physical world, in health, security, and finances. And that is what is made possible by allowing this relationship to get more serious and for you guys to get closer. And that concludes your reading. So it is, you're asking, does he want a serious relationship? Well, what the card said is that when he started talking to you, it was him looking for a serious relationship. In the present, he is overcoming his limitations by being in a relationship with you. And in the future, if you guys do get serious, it opens up opportunities for physical abundance, that is health abundance, fitness abundance, safety, and financial abundance. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already, and if you're by the means, please send a donation of your choosing. Next in the queue will be Beautiful. Kelsey did get blocked, Meg. I did block, I blocked 2 people. I'm not seeing anyone spamming the chat at the moment, but thank you. Yeah, thank you for pointing it out, but I think I did. There were 2 people spamming and I did block them both. I don't remember what their names were, but I'm not seeing anyone spamming right now. You're welcome so much. You're so welcome, Feifei. Thank you for joining us today. I'm sure we'll be seeing you again soon. Okay, cool. Beautiful says, I want to know, how does Sagittarius Daniel perceive me? I'm Aquarius. Awesome. I'll do your reading for you in a sec. Nah, I'm sure it wasn't related to you, Meg. When people share the stream into new groups, then that's when they all come in. They all just start attacking the thread, but it's all good. I catch them pretty quickly. Welcome to the chat, Shasha Kennedy. So this timer here, it's almost empty, and so basically when that expires, all the free readings are done, and readings from there on out are donation based. To get into the queue, ask a question, but at this point, because that clock is getting low, it's a 2-hour clock, starts as 2 hours and now it's at like 20 minutes. 10 minutes of reading, and I've got more than 2 readings, more than 2 requests here, so you can get into the queue by asking a question. But if you want to make sure you get a reading, that's a $2 donation. You will get your if you make a $2 donation, you will get your reading even after the clock expires. If you want to be next up for a reading, that's a $5 donation. Also, and you will get it even, well, that's irrelevant. You can find my links in the description. Actually, let me just, bam, do that. How does Daniel perceive the one referred to as beautiful? The Sagittarius named Daniel. You know, I know a Sagittarius named Daniel, and I'm trying really hard not to let him get into the frequency here. Past interval is number 14 of the Trumps reversed. This card is about co-creation, working together with others, applying your creativity and allowing that creative process to support someone else's process, and vice versa, allowing their creativity and their process to support you in your endeavors and what you're creating. The card is reversed, which indicates that there was resistances there, difficulties. It was something you had to work on, or you were trying to work on by getting involved with other people and starting to co-create with them and work together with them. Basically, this card is saying that 2021, the last months of 2021, there were some creative projects, or just projects in general, that were started by groups of people. You were one of those people. Daniel possibly one of them as well. And maybe it was you and Daniel. I don't know. It's just saying that there was more than one person who started working on a project together, and they had some conflicts. They didn't really manage to gel all that well because both of them needed to work on their team building skills. They didn't really know how to work as a team. You and the other individual struggled with that. In the present, I have number 15 of the Trumps. It's called the Devil. So this is saying that Daniel perceives you as an enemy. Not necessarily as the enemy or Satan or as his personal enemy like Nemesis. It's basically saying that he feels like you have to challenge everything he says. You have to, if he says he's done something, you've done it better. If he says he's got himself, if he wants to say, hey, I got myself a guitar, you're like, oh, I've got 10 guitars. That kind of frequency, always trying to trump what he has to say or what he's doing, always trying to be better, making yourself out to be better, making him feel smaller than you. And it's not healthy, and he doesn't feel like that is the kind of frequency he wants to be in. It's damaging to your image. He's looking at that and he's like, ooh, I don't know if I want to be around that anymore. Future interval is the 7 of Wands. So Wands is about desires and intentions. 7 is about choosing. It's about setting things in order. When we look at number 7, when we get to number 7, it's like there are endless possibilities, and there are endless ways that those possibilities could become real in the present. There are endless, limitless responsibilities and limited amount of time to fulfill them. It can be overwhelming. And what that card wants to say is that you need to choose what you want. Do you want this relationship with Daniel as a friendship or as a romance? Do you want it? If so, then you need to just like choose that. You need to say, okay, that's what I want. I want that relationship, and so I'm going to start doing the things that are necessary in order to get hold of it. I'm going to start communicating clearly. I'm going to start making the changes to myself that are necessary in order to see that happen. And then more than that, identifying what is important to you. What is important to you? Because when there are responsibilities and it's overwhelming, the only way forward is to identify what's important to you and start working on it in that order of priorities according to the things that are important. Things that are less important can happen after. Start with the highest priority and then move down from there. Should I do that if he thinks I'm some ego freak? It's not about being an ego freak. In fact, when people do that, when they trump everything you have to say or challenge everything you have to say, it's usually out of insecurity. So just observe yourself, identify if that is the case. I mean, it might not always be the case, but there are definitely moments where you do it. And just identify it so that you can understand why you're doing it. It's usually because you feel inadequate, or like you feel like he's better than you at those things. So therefore you instinctively say something along those lines to try and bring yourself up to his level. And what that is doing to the image is him making him feel like, oh, you've just got to be better at everything. You can't let me have some things that I'm good at. And that's just out of insecurity. That's out of you feeling like he is better than you. And it's not true. He has things that he's good at, you have things that you're good at. No one's better than anyone. That's the advice that the Devil card has. It's just to recognize that no one's better than anyone, and no one needs to prove anything to anyone. So that's the kind of shift that you can make if you choose that relationship. Like the card says, choosing that outcome and then making the changes that are necessary in order to get there. Just identifying yourself where you have insecurities and how that is creating resistance is part of that change. Don't let the Devil card scare you. The only reason it's scary is because there's so much stigma attached to the word the devil. A better word for it would be resistance, challenge, adversity. All of those words are congruent with one another. They all work interchangeably for this kind of energy. And you are most definitely right. You guys are definitely reflecting one another. What he's seeing in you, he's seeing this resistance in you, this like needing to be better in you. He's seeing that because it's something that he does. It's something that he doesn't like about himself, and something he's trying to work on. So when he sees it in you, it's very triggering, and it's because he's reflecting himself. You are very much right when you say that. Welcome to the chat, Deepka Parta on Facebook. Welcome to the chat. So basically my queue is just about to close. As soon as this timer reaches 0, the queue is for free readings is closed. And from there on out, it's donation readings only. If you'd like to make sure you get a reading today, that's a $2 donation. If you want to jump to be next in line in the queue, that's a $5 donation. 585, welcome back. It's good to see you. Beautiful. I have no idea if this is a twin flame connection. No idea. You can actually know. You can most definitely know when it's a twin flame connection. So let me tell you what I know about twin flame connections. If you have been working on yourself and developing yourself, filling your own cup, and you've reached a place where you are completely content and satiated within yourself and content to be alone, you start to attract people who are on that same frequency, who are doing the same thing. And when that happens, as you start getting surrounded by people who are doing the same thing, filling their own cup, working on their own purpose, being content and whole within themselves, out of those people that start to surround you, one of them will stand out and will get closer and closer. And this will happen just naturally. It will be like you just get closer and closer, and all of a sudden you have a relationship with that person, a close, deep, intimate relationship, and then that relationship becomes romantic. And all of this just spirals out of its own accord. It just happens, and it happens so quickly. And the next thing you know, this is the closest person you've ever been with the most intimate connection you've ever had, and that is a twin flame connection. The only advice for you I have is to make the decision whether you want it and whether it's worth the work that's necessary to get it, and then do it based on what you decide. Welcome to the chat, Amber Ainsworth. Sorry I missed you. The chat got a little busy. I'm scrolling back up now. I see you there. And Naomi Irons, welcome to the chat, guys. So the timer's about to expire. The queue closes for free readings when that timer expires. And yeah, so if you guys want a reading, you want a secure reading, that's a $2 donation. If you want to be next in line, that's $5 donation. I think I'm about to give away my last free reading of the day. Just checking on the timer. Yeah, 15 minutes on the clock. That's pretty much one reading. But I will be online as long as people are paying their donations. Once that free reading timer expires, I will, if there are no donations, I will close the stream. But as long as we keep getting requests and donations, I will stick around. How far back do we have to go here to get to where we were? I think it was J No who came up after Beautiful. J No is up next, yeah. J No on YouTube, if you're still around, please let me know. Jano is here, so Jano will be getting the last free reading of the day. Anyone else who wants to ensure that they get a reading today, that's a $2 donation. Yeah, the queue is about to close. 15 minutes, that's enough time for one more reading. And it's going to Jano. And the question was, could I get some kind of time frame when I will be in a new relationship? No, I'm afraid not. I cannot give you a time frame. I'm afraid that's a little bit outside of my capabilities. But I can give you as much advice regarding how you can get there, how you can get closer. I can give you advice on what you can be doing that will bring you closer to a new relationship, but I cannot give you a specific time frame. Every moment that you exist, your future shifts and changes. Could I tell you if Elise will be my next one? I can ask the tarot that question. So Cat Flatley wants to know, what if we don't have PayPal? If you don't have PayPal, then it's kind of difficult. If you are in the Republic of South Africa, you can deposit money directly into my bank account. I can give you my bank account details. But if you are anywhere outside of the Republic of South Africa, you're gonna pay triple the donation amount just for the international fee. So PayPal is actually the only way, to be honest. If you don't have a PayPal, you should go and sign up for one. It's really useful. Even if you don't have money in your PayPal, if you link your card to your PayPal, then your payments come straight off your card, and the fees are like nothing in comparison to your typical international banking fees. And 585 asks, when do I stream? It looks like I stream every day, but I'm not sure, so I don't stream every day. I would like to stream every day except Sunday, but I only do tarot readings on Sundays, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. So no tarot on Tuesday, no tarot on Thursday, and no tarot on Sunday. I might throw an art stream, a video game stream, or a music stream in between those things. But yeah, welcome to the chat, Monica, and God bless you too. I'm busy giving away my last free reading of the day, so if anyone in the chat would like to get a reading, it's a $2 donation minimum. Okay, Jano, I'm going to rephrase your question a little bit. I'm going to say, is Elise the right one, and how can you manifest that relationship if that be the case? Past interval. Since this is the last free reading, I'm thinking I'm gonna do this as a 6-card reading. Present interval, also about card. Crossing interval. Crossing card, that is in the way, that's the reason why things are the way they are in the present, and it is also something you can use to your advantage once you're aware of it. Conscious thoughts, where your conscious mind is focused. Unconscious thoughts, what your unconscious mind is processing. Past interval and all that's coming to a close. Future interval and all that's about to open. Okay, so your first card is number 4 of the trumps. It's the Emperor. Healthy masculine energies, strong divine masculine energies in your present. You are embodying a healthy masculine archetype. You are exercising your authority over your reality, keeping everything harmonious and balanced, and making sure that energy flows, making sure that priorities get kept and responsibilities are attended to. Very strong card. Kudos. Well done. Crossing card is the Nine of Cups. So the reason you're able to embody this strong masculine archetype is because you self-reflect on your emotional being, and you do it regularly. You look back at yourself and you're like, okay, where have I allowed negative emotions to impact me and sabotage me? Where have I, when and under what circumstances was I able to overcome negative emotions and act within purpose regardless of the emotion? Where have I been able to express my emotions, even negative ones, in a healthy way that didn't hurt others? So you ask yourself these questions and you re-examine your past and how you've handled emotions, and you learn from your mistakes and you learn from your successes so that you don't repeat your mistakes in the future, and so that you can apply your successful methods in the future and ensure that you stay healthy. And that's what has given you the potential to embody this strong, authoritative, masculine, committed and focused archetype in the present. Really well done. Amazing. Meg Styles says, I think you are worth so much more. Thank you so much for that recognition. I am compiling a price list which I will post and promote soon for private services. Okay, so Jano, conscious mind is obsessing a little bit about miscommunications. So that's yourself and others. You have kept certain aspects of your intentions and your abilities or your desires or your purpose. You've kept certain things about yourself to yourself. When questioned or when given an opportunity to communicate clearly, you have kept little bits of information back. You've held back on some of that information. And because of that, when you look around you, you think everyone around you is doing the same. Your conscious mind, because of something you've been doing, you see it happening in everyone around you, and that's not necessarily the case. Your unconscious mind is, I see a number 14 of the trumps for your unconscious mind. So basically what you're processing here is your ability to work with others. That's what has brought you here to ask me this question about whether Elise is going to be the next one. Your unconscious mind is processing your ability to work with others and whether or not um, failure to work with others in the past or have successful relationships was to do with you or them. Your unconscious mind is just making sense of that because it's a little bit of a difficulty for you. Allowing other people's creative process to affect your life and support your life is something you struggle with, and vice versa. Allowing what you have and the value you've created to support someone else is also something that you have struggled with. And this is just born out of a fear that someone else's process will interfere with the harmony and the authority that you have over your schedule as it currently stands. You've worked hard to establish this harmonious flow of energy in your life, and there's a little bit of fear that allowing someone else in will get in the way of that or sabotage that process. So your unconscious mind is processing all of that, trying to find ways that it could integrate Elise in, and it's basically indicating that you are ready for a new relationship, that your mind and your psyche is processing what needs to be processed in order to make you ready to get into another relationship. Miscommunication on top their conscious mind. That one is saying to me that perhaps Elise is not the right one. If you don't feel like you can speak freely about yourself and who you are to her specifically, then she's probably not the right one for you. But you can test it. You can turn that card around and you can just be forthright and see how she responds. That'll give you some clarity. Past interval and things that are closing for you is a period of painful adjustment, letting go of old habits and old lifestyle that wasn't serving you anymore, particularly regarding your health and your finances, creating a balance between action and rest in your like exercise and activity and just fitness in general, creating a balance between income and expense regarding your finances, trying to balance your expenses with your incomes so that it's not bigger, so you're not going into debt, trying to keep some aside so you can save, so you can pay back debt. And those changes that you had to make were painful and difficult. You had some attachments to certain habits and lifestyle that you had to cut, that you recognized had to be cut in order to create that harmony and that balance. But that's closing for you. Those shifts have been made. You've become the person that you need to be in order to see the result you were looking for. That's what brought you into this harmonious and authoritative presence. Future interval is the Queen of Swords. So this card is saying that if you want a relationship and if you want it to be Elise, you gotta just go ahead and make it happen. Queen energy the Queen energy is like, I want something, so I'm going to do what I need to do to get it. I'm going to make the changes that I need to get to where I want to be. I'm going to do the work because I want the end result. I'm going to integrate. I'm going to let go of my attachments and integrate with other people, allowing their creative process to influence mine and mine theirs. And I'm going to learn to be flexible with my routine and structure so that I don't have to let go of what I've been building in order to be in a relationship. And yeah, this card is just saying to you, go make it happen if that's what you want. Do the work, integrate, shift, change if necessary. If it's what you want, it can be yours. And yeah, that concludes your reading, Jano. I hope that it gives you some perspective and some clarity. I hope it helps you understand what kind of advice and what kind of information the tarot does provide. Yeah, how the future works basically. The future, it's not something that happens to you. The future is something you create for yourself. You know, you can't actually ever experience or know the future. The future is always in the future. So if you're trying to get to the future, you're never going to get anywhere. Nothing's ever going to change. What needs to happen is you see this vision in your mind, and that's technically the future. And then you make your present reality correspond with that vision of the future that you want. You bring little elements from that vision into your present moment. Start transforming your present to look the way your outcome looks in your mind. That's what the future is. That vision that you have in your mind, that reality you're observing, is the only state of the future that you will ever know. everything else you have is in the present, and every moment that passes is memory. The only thing you know about the past is memory. Everything you have is in the present. Thank you so much, Jano. I encourage you to express that appreciation by supporting me across my platforms, and if you are by the means, please send a donation of your choosing. Thank you so much. And I'll see you guys again soon. I'm going to check and see if I've got any donations, because if anyone sent a donation, it secures them a spot for a reading. But no, we don't have any. Okay, cool. Well, I will see you guys again on Sunday. Peace upon you, and wealth and prosperity to you all.